I'm Elizabeth Daxon, and on today's community segment, I'm here with Katie Burford of the Indy MQG. Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm so glad that you're here today to talk about putting on a quilt show. I can't imagine how many challenges there must have been in that process.
Yeah.
But you guys did that in the Indy Guild, what, in 2012? Is that right?
That's correct. In 2012, we did our first show.
Wow. So I bet there were a lot of things that you guys learned about that process. Tell me a little bit about the planning. How did you guys come to put the show on, and what were your guys' thoughts and processes in terms of what you wanted to get out of that show?
Yeah, so initially we wanted to do something different. We didn't want to have like a traditional show. We wanted to just go out there and go crazy. And so we had talked about it, and we initially wanted to do kind of like yarn bombing.
Oh, fun.
And we wanted to do like a quilt bombing where we like would take our quilts and just show up and be there, and then be like quilts everywhere.
Nice.
And as we thought about it, we were like, this is a terrible idea. Like, we don't really want to get our quilts dirty, you know, so how can we do it on the same level? And so we came up with the idea that we would hang them along a cultural trail that we have in Indianapolis. And it's right near a local shop that we have. And so we basically used existing structures to like hang clothesline and then hang our quilts along there. And it was great because they were just blowing in the wind, and it was kind of a different experience for like a quilt show, not hanging on a wall. Or
Yeah,
something
definitely
like that.
not the standard kind of idea of a typical quilt show. Now, I imagine that there were maybe some logistical challenges there, but how did you get people to come?
Yeah, so one of the things we did was we wanted to tag along with something that already existed.
Oh.
So Indianapolis has an event called First Fridays, and it's like an art show exhibit, and galleries and studios are open to people to come to. And so we did it on a First Friday, and there's a bunch of galleries along this cultural trail, and so we just had some organic traffic from that, and then in addition to that, we just had people walking on the trail, and it was very good. Like, we had a great turnout for that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, is your local quilt shop somewhere near this trail as well?
Yep,
Did you do that?
It's right, we basically were right in front of the local quilt shop.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
it's
So there were
perfect.
quilters already in the ready-to-see quilts there.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Wow. Now, I imagine there are probably a lot of lessons that you learned in this process, but what do you think was the number one thing that you guys learned in this process?
So I think the biggest thing that we learned was like to test things and to kind of like prepare a little better. We kind of just showed up with quilts, we hung them, and we discovered that some quilts are very heavy.
Yes.
So if you have a king size quilt, it was sagging the clothesline. And so we had to like, rearrange things.
So always
and,
test the hang.
right. And then we
hanging
had,
procedure.
a struggle with people being tall enough to like
Yes.
hang quilts.
Of course.
And so, we had only one person that could do
Gotcha.
that.
Alrighty, so definitely make sure to test your hanging processes when you plan your quilt shows. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.
And that's how you can put together a quilt show.